record again. So if I can share the screen of your presentation, and if you could talk us through that, that would be brilliant. Thanks, Helen.
Yep, I'm so pleased you're doing all the technical bit, because I'm sure I'd just like take everyone off the call by accident. Okay, so I think like everyone, it's probably been a really steep learning curve, and for me, with sort of 2 young kids at home, I've had to find a real balance between, you know, all this sort of online stuff that's coming at me, and finding something that balances the time you spend on doing things versus the outcome. Because at my schools, we're not doing like online lessons, and at the schools I'm working at, there's a sort of different expectation of children in getting engaged in things. So just going to run through a few things that I found have worked quickly and have been effective for engaging children. So Vidyard, and I'm sure there's lots of different tools like this, is good for recording yourself, maybe working through some PowerPoints and slides. And what's good is you get a little circle of your face and doing it. So if you did want to share like the actions, or children to be able to see your lip movements as you were explaining the voices, I found that really good. And also a familiar face for the children to see if you're sending videos home. It's also enabled you probably like a website or app. It's a little bit sort of glitchy if you're doing like this wheel of names, which I used for like kind of random, like pick a word and then you click the wheel of names, and then if the children have guessed the right word on the video, they get a point. It can be a little bit slow with that, but the children quite like that sort of interactive side of it. So that's Vidyard. And also what's worked quite well on those videos is sort of doing interactive games, just like I suppose in a lesson, like, you know, you think of a word and then you might put a picture up and then they see whether they've guessed it right. The other thing with Vidyard as well, if you're sending like worksheets or vocab lists home, it's quite nice to record them so that the children do hear the words, so you're not just relying on their reading skills all the time. Seesaw we use in my schools quite a lot. Now, I don't know whether sort of people use that in their schools, so it might be something that might be difficult to set up remotely, but I think we're probably also thinking about how our practice might change come September, with more of these type of activities perhaps. So it might be something people want to look into for when we go back in September. It's basically somewhere where children can post videos, can access activities in a really simple way. So on Seesaw, I've been posting like just reading stories in Spanish to the children. But I think it's really good for speaking and listening games. So for example, I might have like a page of colours and point to an arrow, and the children have to say it out loud before I say the word. I have some really nice videos from parents of children interacting with those videos. So I can see that the Seesaw videos are quite good for that. I've posted some examples on my Twitter as well, if you want to look at those sort of as an example. The other thing that's quite good for Seesaw is you can record videos without having to be on it, so you can like speak as you're moving pictures and matching words and things like that. The other good thing with Seesaw is you can post activities, so it can help develop children's speaking and listening skills. So for example, you could, I've done one where I've sort of said out loud a shopping list, and children have to move the items into a shopping trolley. So it's quite an easy way of getting those listening games. Another one that I've done to practice speaking is I've kind of put a kebab stick, and the children have to say the fruit words as they dragged the fruit onto the stick. So they're practicing their speaking skills, which is sometimes quite a difficult thing for them to do remotely. At the moment, Seesaw are doing some pioneer training, I think it's called, where you can through the training, and they can help you sort of learn the things that you can do with Seesaw. So I would certainly recommend looking at Seesaw. And on the third slide, Susie, just pop that on. these are just really quick things that I found really useful. Susie mentioned Educandy. Tiny Cards is brilliant for vocab practice of reading, and also you can have the sort of the words being spoken at the same time and scanning as well. And the kids really enjoy those. Hangman, you can just type in words, but you can also put like phrases as well, or you could have the Spanish or French and the English word on there. So that's really easy to set up, 5 minutes, and you've got a game sorted. And same with the word search. I've found some of the boys have really enjoyed those because they're quite quick and easy to do. Spin is just nice for like sort of doing random words if you wanted to do like game or practice. Susie, you've mentioned quizzes. And Memrise, I've actually been doing some Memrise quizzes for teachers and ATs. So at my schools, we were asked if there was any online courses for ATs to do. And I've kind of done a bank of words like that we use in class, like how we answer the register, how we order dinners, food on the lunch menu. So also sort of thinking how to support staff while they've not been at work to enhance their Spanish as well. And I think, yeah, that's most of it. The other thing I was going to mention about Vidyard actually is the good thing about that is it will show you how many views you've had for your videos, so you can see how much children are engaging. But that's really it from me, Susie.
Fantastic. That's brilliant. Thank you so much, Nieves. I'm just going to stop my share there. Lovely. I can see Liz is on the line as well. So I think if it's okay with you, Liz, I'm going to unmute you. I can just about see the top of your head. Fantastic. I'd love to invite Liz Black onto the call. Liz and I worked together at the University of York running the PGC. We had a great time, didn't we, Liz? And Liz is a firm believer in promoting German. So I asked her earlier in the week if she would come onto the call and say...
This is a what?
She's a legend.
What did you just call me?
I don't know, a legend.
I think you just called me a buzzo or something.
It's great to see you, Liz. How are you keeping?
Yeah, I'm fine, thank you. They used to call me Buzzy at my old school because they used to say I was buzzing with ideas. So if I said to people, oh, I've got an idea, and then people would just say, what, just one?
That doesn't surprise me, Liz.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm in a different position because I'm not teaching online a classroom at the moment. What I via the Deutsch Lehren Lernen program with the Goethe Institute, and all of the on the courses are teaching online, and we've what I'm trying to do is to guide them how they can teach online effectively. So we're actually Deutsch with Jugendliche, and some very interesting things have come out of the preparation while we've been delivering the online training, and they're all about to start something that we call a PEP project, a Praxis Erkundungsprojekt. And the range of things I thought I'd share a few things that they're going to be trialing. And when Susie sends out the recording of this, do share my email address, Susie. I'm more than happy to support any German teachers, primary or secondary, you know, over these coming weeks with resources. You know, do get in touch because I've got lots of other things I won't be sharing today. I just picked out a few key things that we've done on the course, which I thought are maybe things that might be of interest to some of you if you're working with, you know, multilingual pupils. We've been looking at the you know, the whole concept of Mehrsprachigkeit. If you haven't ever tried one which portraits that the children colour in, there's quite a few good examples on Pinterest, and you can see that the children, and it's something, you know, that they might be able to do at home and talk to their parents and grandparents and involve the family in general language learning. the idea is that they and colour onto their head and body with what they feel about languages. For example, you know, what is a heart language, what is head language, and it just encourages this whole debate, which might be a little bit in English, but I don't feel that's a problem, because if they're sharing about their feelings, especially at this current time, those parts of Europe or the wider world, and you know, when they hear their grandparents talking in a different language, you know, it can move them emotionally, and I think we need to be very aware of those things at the moment. So if you look at Sprachenporträts, and I can email anybody a few of examples of ones that we've done online. So that was just one idea I wanted to share with you, and we've had some very moving experiences amongst the participants, because we've had Romanian people and all sorts of people who've learned German as a second language and French as the third language, and I think it's a moving thing to do. So that's my idea number one. I wanted to remind people, if you haven't seen the Felix and Francie and the Carla and Kai. Now, Carla and Kai are the Goethe Institute 3 lesson 6, and they have a brilliant dedicated YouTube channel. And as they get to year 6, they start on the concept of the past tense even. But I think if you even if you're not teaching German, do have a look at the early YouTube clips, because it's very moving how they introduce it. It's absolutely lovely. Now, a reading site we're using, which I came across about 6 months ago, is called Amira, A-M-I-R-A, amira.lesen.de. And that's got really lovely stories in different languages, not just German. So you could have a look at that for the languages you're teaching as well. But it's a wide range, and it's a relatively unknown website, but it's a very good website with lots of different stories and different ways of using stories in the classroom. Obviously, as I work with the Goethe Institute, I have access to some of their materials from, you know, the wider world, and the Deutsch Lernen programs have access to video clips from all over the world, which is fantastic for me to see how much German is being taught across the world. But through that, then I'm constantly looking for new sources of unusual information. So the Russian Goethe Institute, for example, they're doing some really good work on comics. The Polish one, the Goethe Institute in Poland, if you have a look at that, they have some quite unusual work on planets, Planetenreise. So I would recommend that as well. A website called klicksmix.de has some really good CLIL geography links. That's another one I would recommend. And finally, there's lots more things, but I would recommend for everybody, whatever language you're teaching, to look at the Panda blog at Berlin Zoo. It's really, they update it regularly, and it's been so moving for children to see the online development of these baby twin pandas. And no child could fail to be moved by their development and the way they play, and also the joy of the zookeepers, how they're sharing. And I think especially at this time, we need some really motivating and encouraging things that are going on at the moment. So do look at the Panda blog and how they're using the blog, because I think that's another tip for us all to think about, how blogs can be used in teaching, not just to look at them and think, oh, lovely clips of the pandas, but how they're actually, and you can switch backwards and forwards between languages. And what we've been trying to do is to allow the pupils to switch quickly backwards and forwards, but to constantly say, to be motivated and train yourselves to then quickly switch back to the foreign language. It's okay to switch back to English just to check the meaning of a word, like an online dictionary, but really try and share how we've learned foreign languages. That is very good to be determined to keep reading in the foreign language, and even looking at titles, subtitles, even if you can't understand it all. So in the trials of, we're about to start these projects, we're trialing Kahoot in the online classroom. We're trialing particularly how to promote interaction and how to, the difference between pair work and group work in the online classroom. And what we found up to now is that actually group work seems to work better. We're not really sure at the moment why. And you know, later on, and as I say, do email me in a month or so, because we'll have some results of these small scale trials. But just about all the groups are looking at different ways of promoting talk, especially for shy children, and how to encourage them to speak spontaneously. And we're looking at ways of using music, by giving them the YouTube link, by, like Niev just said about, also we're trialing that as well, giving them the pronunciation and different things for them to look out for in songs. So obviously the training's being delivered by Adobe Connect, so we can go into pairs and group works quite easily, but the participants in the programs are trialing in the online classroom different ways of using quizzes and music and different interaction through that. So we'll be able to report back a little bit more on that. And finally, Susie, because I'm sure my 5 to 10 minutes is just about up.
Doing great.
Yeah. For all languages, not just German, have a look at the latest podcasts on the Arsenal Double Club. Because if you've got people interested in missing their sport, and there's a lot of talk about that in the news at the moment, isn't there? It might be something you could look at. There's some really good new podcasts by the footballers. And, you know, like with a lot of the athletes, they're talking about how they persevered with the languages online. Anyway, do get in touch with me. I'm very happy to help people. Brilliant. And it's been lovely to be part of it. I'll keep listening to all the other conversations now.
Thank you so much, Liz. That's brilliant. Now, let me exit my full screen. Perfect. I hope you can all still hear me. Now, I think next up, if it's okay, let me just check she's still online with us. Could I invite Madame Contin? Is Catherine with us? Let me see if I can find her screen. She's there. She's waving at me. Let me unmute you, Catherine. Thank you for joining us. Hi there. Bonjour.
Bonjour. Yeah, thank you so much. I'm not really sure where to start. So I think you wanted me to talk about the videos.
Yeah, absolutely. So for those of you who don't know, Madame Contin has been publishing her fantastic French videos onto the Primary Languages Facebook group and on YouTube. And so I just thought it might be nice to just give us an insight into where you've come up with the ideas and how you've, like, the practicalities of how you've actually recorded your videos for your children.
Okay, so I teach in an independent primary school in Worcester. So I teach normally 2-year-olds up to year 6. And at the moment, my school is only asking me to do online lessons for year 3 upwards. So I thought I had to do something for the littler ones, because actually they're the best. They're the ones that pick it up the best. So I decided to make some videos. And basically what I use is Apple Clips. Now, if you haven't got an Apple phone, an iPhone or an iPad, I'm so sorry about that, because you probably, well, I don't think you can use this app, but if you have, it is so easy to use. I don't have any patience with iMovie. I can't do it. So Apple Clips is really easy. It just takes things directly from your camera roll, and you can easily add animations. So all the things that you see, if I'm talking about a rainbow, I can have a rainbow that's animated, or an emoji rainbow. You can add as many as you like. It literally is just a case of like adding emojis onto your screen. And adding music is really easy as well. All those things that you've always wanted to do with videos, it's just made so easy for you in Apple Clips. There are certain limitations, so you can only have one piece of music and it goes through the whole thing. However, I find a cheat to that. So I record, I make the Apple Clips on my iPad, but I take my iPhone, which also has Apple Clips, and then I can record the music from my iPhone onto sections of my Apple Clips movie, which is basically cheating, but because it's music from Apple Clips, it's fine. So without going through it and showing you, it's quite hard to explain it. But if you look at Apple Clips and you think, I want to use this, and you don't find it intuitive, I'm really happy for you to contact me on Facebook or on Twitter or email me. Because once you get used to it, it's so easy. And I basically go through my whole life now making Apple Clips, clips of my family, clips of my son. I come back from a day trip, I'm in the car, and you can literally make an Apple Clips movie in about 3 minutes. And it adds the music and it cuts the music for you perfectly. So you feel like a bit of a genius when actually it's the app doing it all for you. So if you have an iPhone or if you have an iPad and you haven't looked at Apple Clips yet, you will probably become as addicted to it as I have. So to do the actual videos, people have asked me how it's so steady. I borrowed / stole from my school an iPad trépied. What do you say for that in English? And trépied. What's that? A stand, like a camera stand? Oh, I can't think good.
Tripod.
That would make sense.
Tripod.
Sorry. There you go. So I borrowed that from school. So you can put that on there. And then, of course, you just press on the button and then you come back and then you can edit that out. And all the editing in Apple Clips is really, really easy. So, yeah, I haven't got somebody standing there filming me. It's just using a tripod stand, which obviously not everybody has one of those. But if you can get one, then that would be great.
And I've just pulled up, I hope you can see my screen share. This is Madame Contin's YouTube channel. So if you go on to YouTube and just type in the search bar Madame Contin, you can subscribe, which means that you'll get alerts for the videos. And then if you click onto videos, you can see here, once it loads up, all the different videos that are available. So if you are sharing content with your learners, or if you're not in a position to actually share content of your own, then I would highly recommend the videos. Lots of lovely songs, authentic clips, and I particularly like the jokes too, Catherine.
Yeah, I need some new ones. But I think you can see from those videos that if you can see me on the screen now, I'm in my bedroom, I'm in the same place. So it is literally as easy as that. I do all of them filming it where I am now, and that's the wall behind me. And it honestly takes me about 5 minutes. I don't know if you've seen the potato video, which was crazy. It got like 17,000 views. I promise you, I did that in about 5 minutes using Apple Clips, promise you. So
fantastic.
Have fun with Apple Clips, it's really good.
Definitely. And I think the thing with the videos as well, which I found, is that they don't have to be perfect. I think in a lesson, it's not always perfect. Things don't always go well. So somebody said to me on Twitter, oh, do you edit them? Do you delete things? How many takes? And I said, literally, if something goes wrong, I just gloss over it and I just keep going, and the video keeps going and I keep rolling. If you are a bit of a perfectionist, you could tinker around with editing, but I don't think in the circumstances that we're in that it's necessary, or that the children actually expect that. What would you say, Catherine?
Absolutely. I mean, if I'm putting something on the YouTube channel, then I just basically edit out me getting really close to the camera and pressing on the button. But because I do my online lessons through Google Meet, which is basically the same as Zoom, and yeah, that is live, things go wrong, but I think that's a really good lesson to the pupils, because it's like learning a language. You don't get it right every time and you just have to keep going, and of course they want to see you making mistakes as well. So yeah, I think that's a really good point.
Superb, that's brilliant. Well, thank you for sharing that with us. I'm just going through the chat and seeing if we still have Claire Sackham on the line. We do. Thank you so much, Catherine. That's been really, really useful. Claire, would you mind hopping on next? That would be lovely.
Yeah, sure. Hi, everybody. Hope you're well. Not working too hard, I hope. I'm not. So Susie mentioned before, if you're on Twitter, you can use the hashtag ALL Primary. I'm actually the ALL Primary tweeter, and the Twitter account is @ALL Primary if you fancy following it or tweeting things to it or tagging in, and I'll do my best to sort that out. And Susie mentioned as well that you can buy a book of my primary blogs. That's been in development for 2 months or so. It's been going backwards and forwards to the typesetter and so on. It's finally ready. So if you fancy reading my words of wisdom and you don't already get Languages Today, then please have a look at that. I have been busy-ish, making 58 videos for my 420 odd children to watch, which are on Lightbulb Languages. Just follow the link from the home page if you want to have a look at those. So if you teach Spanish and you want some video lessons, say I've done 58, they go from year 1 or beginners, I suppose, all the way up to year 6. Freely available. And if you go onto the website, then there's accompanying activities, Educandy games, writing, reading, and things for the children to do as well. I've been revisiting recently some things that I used to do in the early 2000s. I'm talking 2001, I started doing thinking skills in my other life as a secondary teacher. And somebody reminded me recently about Odd One Out. And so I went back and had a look at the resources that I'd made way back, say in 2001, 2002. And I wrote a blog post about it at the end of last week. So this isn't maybe something so much to try with children now as to have in your pocket ready for September. It works best if you have 4 lexical items. So it could be words, could be phrases, even works with pictures as well. And you give them 4 items. Out of them, 1 is an odd one out. And the idea is that the children spot which one is the odd one out and explain it to you using grammatical terminology. So you're not necessarily just looking for meaning, although some of them might just be a meaning odd one out. But you want them to tell you something like, well, this one's the odd one out because it's feminine and all the others are masculine. Or this one is the odd one out because it's plural and all of the others are singular. Or this one's the odd one out because it's a plural verb form and all the others are singular verb forms. Because I don't know about you, but I yammer on all the time about gender, masculine, feminine, determiners, articles, and so on. But it would be kind of nice if I knew that they could give it back to me as an explanation afterwards, because I'm not always sure that it goes in and stays in and they're able to use it, if you like. So Odd One Out, really easy to set up. If you want to be really good, you can try and make ones that have more than one possibility. So for example, you could have, if you're doing Spanish, you could have España, Paraguay, Argentina, Brazil. And you could have 2 odd ones out there because España would be an odd one out because it's not in South America. But then Brazil would be an odd one out because it's not Spanish speaking. So if you're really clever about it, then try and get more than one odd one out. And the really good thing is when they spot an odd one out that you haven't actually seen. But I never allow things like, this is the odd one out because it's got an accent, or this one's the odd one out because it doesn't have an O. So we want better odd ones out than that, preferably that use grammatical terminology. There you are, Susie.
Fantastic, thank you, Claire, that's brilliant. And I was going to say, actually, this time last year I applied for a new job and I actually used an odd one out. And what was particularly lovely about the activity was that a couple of the children came up with things that I would never have thought of in a million years. And I think what's great about that is that they feel quite clever because they almost feel like they've caught you out. But also it gets you thinking that, you know what, it's actually a non-threatening activity because there isn't always a right and wrong answer. And quite often in language, children sometimes are reluctant to answer because they think if I get the answer wrong, I'm going to feel bad.
But some children do sometimes find it difficult knowing that there isn't one correct answer. So they have to sort of let themselves go with it a little bit.
Absolutely, yeah. Brilliant. Well, I'm looking at the remaining time and I think we've got about 10 minutes. So can I ask Joe to hop on? I promised Joe he could have a little slot too. Joe, do you want to unmute yourself? Thank you, Claire. Yep. That was brilliant.
Thank you. Right, let me share my screen. Oh, you need to make me co-host, I think.
I will see about allow participants to share screen. You should be able to share your
screen. Lovely. Right, cool. So,
apology, God, has been looking down on us today.
Right, okay, so thanks ever so much for this opportunity. I'm just going to crack straight on if that's okay. So the first thing we're going to have a look at is called quicker conversations, which I've presented a couple of times in other teach meets, but I think it would be great for primary languages. And I'm just going to show you this live. This is on my YouTube channel, this tutorial, but I'm just going to show you live. So you need to be logged in to do this as the teacher. And this is a great way of promoting speaking practice, dialogue work, and giving audio feedback, and it's all moderated, and where the audio is uploaded is servers in the UK. So, and it was created by a physics teacher, secondary school physics teacher in the Southwest. So the way it works is this: you just go to, as the teacher, you create an account for free at quicker.education. You click on create instant feedback like this, and you scroll down to where it says start a quicker conversation. Like this. Okay, you click on that link, you then, okay, it uploads onto their servers, okay, and then from there, you go down to the bottom. You can add other things like text and web links as well if you want to, yeah, you can do that as well. But for now, can you see it says moderate this conversation? So you select that radio button like that, and you click start your quicker conversation. Okay, this then, there we are. This then comes up like this. So that's my audio there. Okay, and what I can do is I can share that link with you right now in the chat. And you can literally copy what I'm going to do right now, which is the following. I'm going to launch a QR code for the link on my screen. I'm then going to scan it with my second device, with my iPad. And I then, on my iPad screen, I get the record button. Can you see the microphone? So you tap on the microphone, and then you record your answer like this. Blah, 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 blah. This is the reply to my first piece of audio. Okay, so this could be me giving audio feedback to a student, a child, or we could be having a back and forth simple dialogue practice as well. Then you press stop, then it uploads onto the servers. And as you can see, well, on my screen, it says response waiting approval. And on this screen, you can see now my audio is there. So if I press play, okay, so I would love somebody to record some audio right now in the next, 10 seconds, and it will then appear on my screen, and then we'll be able to see how it works. But you can see it, because I've turned moderation on, all I have to do is click approve, and now my audio is now as part of that stream, as it were. So as I've said, this could be, you give the link to the students, which you can give to them via whatever you're using, Google Classroom, Seesaw, etc. They then click on that link, they record their audio, it's moderated. So the audio is kept on a server in the EU, on the UK. It will then appear on your page, and then you can click here at any moment to lock the conversation, which means no one else who has that link can then pass on a link to you. Let's just see if there's anything in the chat. Okay, so right, I don't know if anyone wants to do this, otherwise obviously I'll carry on, but it'd be lovely to have someone to do this live, as it were. Let's see what's happening here. There we are, lovely. So I'll press play. Thank you ever so much for the people that have contributed. There we are. So that, then I click approve. Likewise. And it does actually work. So there we are. Excellent. So that's lovely. Thank you ever so much. I can leave this open or I can lock it, but you see how that works. So that's quicker. And I think it's really, really nice for practicing speaking, particularly in a remote learning classroom. So let's go back to the next idea. And thank you to those contributors. Wheel of Names has been mentioned already, but I wanted to show you a few other things with Wheel of Names. So you can have it as a classic name picker. So if I click on this link now, for example, it looks like this, and you can decide which is your favorite Beatle. Here we go. Who's it going to be?
Ooh.
It's going to be George, just about. Controversial, but there we are. Not my personal favorite. So I could then say, right, George, can you please answer this question, whatever it might be. So that's really, really nice from that point of view. This one is the second one. If I click on this one, here I've used a Chrome extension called Emoji Keyboard. And by doing that, instead of having words, I've added emojis. So this is obviously, I've got 3 different pictures for each one. But I could then spin the wheel, and you can choose whatever images you want from the emojis. You can also upload your own images as well. And then I could then ask a child, to then come up with a sentence using these 3 different items. And clearly you can add whatever images you want. So that's that idea. So that's literally just using the emoji keyboard, copying the emoji I wanted, and then posting it into the Wheel of Names, and that's it. This one is auto draw. So if I come out of this quickly, and I select this one, like that. So I can show you this live. If I go here. Right, okay, so this one may be more appropriate for primary. If I click here, these are all images which I created in auto draw. And so one of them will come up. Then I could then ask someone to talk about what pet they have at home. Okay, to use auto draw, if you haven't seen auto draw before, you just do this, autodraw.com. If I go here and I go here, start over, and then I just draw, let's say I want to draw with black and I want to just draw a fish like this. Then at the top of the screen, you can see that different things have come up. And what you do is you just click on the one that you want it to be. So there we are, I've got a nice fish. So for primary children that find drawing difficult, this is really, really nice. Auto draw is also available in Book Creator as well. And then to download that, I just click there and click download and click, and that's it, done it. And so now if I wanted to add that to a Wheel of Names, all I'd have to do is go to wheelofnames.com, click on new, like this, get rid of all of that, click add image. There's my picture of my fish, and then I can add another one. Let's find another one. Okay, we'll go for the light bulb one. Oh, what's it doing? Oh, there we are, etc., etc. And then you've got the different images that have come up, and then you spin it, and then you get the children to say whatever has come up on the wheel. And then in the, this is a similar one. So this is could be like for a game activity. If you wanted to do different games, you could do this one. Oh, that's the, okay. Anyway, that's the wrong link, but never mind. So this one is just like different game activities they could then choose. So Wheel of Names is really, really nice. And just to finish off with,
there's lots of love, Joe, for auto draw, I have to say, on the chat.
Oh yeah, auto draw. Yeah, brilliant. So I'm not sort of doing both things at the same. I'm not looking at the chat while I'm doing this. The last thing I wanted to show you is flippity.net, which has been around for a long time, but got a lot of love recently on Twitter when I posted about it. So essentially, you've got all these different interactive activities that you can do, all for free, all of which work on a Google Sheet. So you just need to design the template, or you use the template, I mean, and then just populate it with your own language, and away you go. So here's an example at the top here, which is a reordering activity using Vocaroo. So you just record with Vocaroo, put it into the spreadsheet, put your words in, and it makes a reordering activity, which looks like this. If I click on this now, it should come up. There we are. So I then click on the play button.
Amazing.